What guy? Hold on a sec. Everybody, we will be with you in just a minute. Oh, I got an echo. All right, everybody, welcome to the show. As usual, a little housekeeping before we get started here. We're streaming today on YouTube, Twitch, Kick. Doing a new one on Kick. We don't do that one that often. Vimeo, Facebook. Oh, and I got to get the tweeter started here. You're right, it would be X, and of course the Twitter isn't wanting to get started here. Why doesn't it want to get started? First. Alright, well, Twitter's going to have to wait. I'll just rebroadcast it on Twitter later. Formerly known, but I know everyone's just so enjoying the anticipation of this show right now. Woo! All right, everybody, as I always like to say, let's get this show started. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. It is September, August, July. This joke's getting old. It's October 5th, ladies and gentlemen, 2023. My name is Tom, otherwise known as Striking, here in the digital media world. And as usual, I'm so glad to be hosting DYOR live on the DYOR Media Network. I've got Pedro Garcia, the crypto chart analyst, here in the background. Pedro, what's happening? All right, Pedro's going to give us all the goods about Bitcoin. We're going to be talking about Ripple and XRP today, and he's going to read those charts and tell us what is in the tea leaves today. We're doing things a little differently today. We're in the afternoon. Usually I do a morning show, but we haven't been on all week. The real world has gotten in the way of that, and you got to take care of real world stuff. We're not talking about real world assets. We're just talking about the JOB. Hopefully one day the JOB will be full-time this channel. So if you're a potential sponsor out there listening, come on, hit me up. Hit us up. Hit us up for that. But anyway, I got a good show for you today, like I always like to say. In every message that goes out, it says, it's been an interesting week in crypto. And that phrase never lets you down. Never lets you down. Pedro, we've had some interesting things happen in the U.S. Congress here. Very, very, very interesting. We've gone in the past, we'll say 18 months, not even 18 months, since November. The new Congress sat in January of 23. It was sworn in. And previous to that, in 2022, all the way up until the end of middle of December, when Congress rose and left, before the lame duck guys came back in before the new swearing in. It was a Democratic-controlled Congress run, and the House Financial Services Committee was run by one Maxine Waters, who really didn't give a crap about crypto and just called it all a scam, and was advised by all of her useless advisors that it was a scam and everything's a scam and scam. Just tried to keep it down, and she did. And finally, the U.S. Congress turned in the last election, and Patrick McHenry took over as the chairman of the House Financial Services Committee, and changed the whole outlook for crypto. All of a sudden, he's up there, saying, "Hey, we need these bills and these bills and these bills, and all these new things are coming out." I note the Senate is not in a full agreement with the House, but that's not the point. We're halfway there, and then, ladies and gentlemen, we had another major shift. For the first time in the history of the United States, one of the top 3 people in the government was removed from office, and that would have been House Speaker Kevin McCarthy. Kevin was ousted. His seat was voted to be vacated by the Congress because they lost trust in him. And I've always believed that he was a complete idiot. Anybody that sucks up to Trump in private, his private recordings said, "Oh, this guy's an idiot. What are we doing?" And then in public, he says, "Well, I've always been good to him. I've never said anything about him." And then the recordings come out, and it says that Trump's a chump, and he didn't want anything to do with that. And the fake election crap is all a scam. But in public, he's not doing that. He's lying. And when politicians lie, they lose my respect. And when they're two-faced like that, they lose my respect even more. And they should for you too. But he was that Speaker of the House controlling the agenda. For those of you not in the U.S. or maybe not particularly skilled in your civics, the Speaker of the House basically controls all the money in the country. They are the House of Representatives controls the taxation, money policy, all this type of stuff. They can vote to they have to start the bills, as they say. The Senate can't start a finance bill or pass the budget or anything like that. But they're in control of it. And if he doesn't want to hear something and doesn't think a law is any good or a budget's any good, he's just not even going to call it to the floor. And unless 2/3 of the House votes to override his rule, he's in charge. And now Kevin's out. That man got the boot. And now Patrick McHenry is the interim Speaker of the House, the number 3 person in the chain of command to be President of the United States, the top person in Congress, arguably the most powerful person in all of the House and Senate in the entire Congress. And he is and he's setting the policy now until the House has an election for a new speaker. And guess what? He controls the process for the election of the new speaker, and he's running for speaker. So the odds that a new crypto-friendly speaker is going to be the Speaker of the House for potentially another year and a half, or 4 years, or 6 years, or whatever. And he's pro-crypto, anti-Gary Gensler, that's for sure. If we all recall, he put Gary Gensler on the spot and said, "Hey, you can't ignore our oversight committee. You have." I know, wasn't that awesome, Pedro? That was. I was just saying that He's in charge now. He's anti-Gensler. He's pro-crypto. He isn't just, it's not that he's pro-crypto. He's pro, hey, there's something new. Let's deal with it properly. And not just try and ban it and hide it and let the big banks control it or whatever. He's actually seemingly got a good head on his shoulders. And I don't think I've said that of any politician. Even the Republicans that forced the election, or the new House Speaker election, forced McCarthy out, except for like one of them, they're all idiots. I mean, but they teamed up with the Democrats. As they said, they stepped across the aisle and teamed up with the Democrats to force them out. So I'll give them credit for that. And they did hold their word. They said, if you don't do these things that we want, we are not going to let you be speaker anymore. And McCarthy was like, nah, you guys aren't really going to do that. Then you have to side with the Democrats. They said, okay, bye. And they went over to the Democrats and said, let's get rid of this chump. And that's what happened. So I give them credit for that, but their policies, that Marjorie Greene lady, there's really nothing worse except this Lauren Bobbitt lady, who, I mean, God help them. They're nice people, I'm sure, but they spout conspiracy theories. They just make up stuff, and anyone that bows down to the orange hair chump guy, I just can't deal with. And I try not to let politics get in it, but we've had a big political week, so I brought it back here. And so that's the big news really this week, is that the outlook for crypto, Twitter is going crazy. Twitter's afire about it. LinkedIn is afire about it too. LinkedIn has taken over for Twitter, in not the meme coin area, but in properly managed crypto and digital asset products. That's where the discussion is now, because LinkedIn can get rid of the spam bots, Twitter cannot. And I can barely even search. I wanted to search for some comments about Ripple on Twitter because I can bring them up on the screen here. And all I got was those fake airdrops and things like that from people tagging everybody, or tagging all that stuff. But anyway, so with all the talk about it, everyone's really happy with it. And then we had one other thing that almost turned the corner for everyone here. Was, unfortunately, you never like to say that someone died, but unfortunately, pretty much the oldest member of the Senate, Senator Dianne Feinstein, passed away. I think she was 372 years old. And interestingly enough, so for one day, or not even a day, it was like 3 days, the Senate had a Republican majority. But California Governor Newsom quickly put in a worse candidate than Dianne Feinstein as the interim senator until they can have a special election to replace her. And so the Senate is back to being normal. So we won't get any new bills out of the Congress for a little bit, but at least we've got the House doing some proper oversight and letting Patrick McHenry do his thing and get crypto down the road and get everyone psyched about it, and maybe move some people in the Senate. There's got to be a Democrat. There's got to be at least one Democrat that doesn't have to say, it's all a fake, it's fraud, it's just North Koreans, what Elizabeth Warren wants them to say. There's got to be one there that says, yeah, I own this stuff, it's good. We need to vote for this to be good, and not have the SEC screw everything up and vote with the Republicans. There's got to be one. If anyone knows that person, let us know, and we'll reach out to them. Yeah. The other news, Ripple won their case again against the SEC. I'm shocked. They won the SEC. It's not that the SEC lost an appeal. The way this case was structured, the court has to basically approve the request for the appeal. And there's no way I'll be able to get behind the understanding of how that legal process works. There's I had it up to put on the screen here, but I closed the tab, and that's not the guy. There's another guy. There's another guy that does crypto legal work, and he's all over the XRP case, and he understands it. If you search on YouTube XRP Ripple legal case, you'll find the guy. and he's excellent about it. But anyway, I digress. The SEC has been sent packing again, saying, no, look, you won the part that said, Ripple offering this stuff to the general public, to the institutions as a general public customer. Yeah, that should have been a registered security, because it doesn't matter if it's a token, if it's a pile of corn. If you're like, yeah, we're gonna sell you 1,000 people a pile of corn, and we're gonna try and make it worth double. That's you got to register for that type of stuff. But the actual just trading of it, and the exchanges trading in, and or the minting of it, or the airdrops or whatever, all of that's perfectly legal, because there was no investment contract, there was no expectation of profit. Ripple never promised people on an exchange that they were going to make a profit about anything, whereas an investment, the exchange is, a lot of them don't even have to buy XRP to trade them. They can just create an internal account and trade it on the price of that, and only buy it when people want to withdraw it out of the exchange. I mean, Robinhood famously for years never even held one bit of any crypto, and they traded certain cryptos all day, because they just had a fund that tracked the price. And so the SEC got sent packing. Bye-bye. See you later. Let's see if I can find that article real quick. But go ahead, Pedro. Right, they were just you didn't actually own the stock when you bought it through Robinhood. That has now changed. You can pull your crypto out for certain ones, not all of them, and the same with stocks. You can actually get them assigned, the clearinghouse to assign you as the owner of it, and you'll get those things in the mail. Right.
I don't know if it's me. I can't hear you. Is that just me?
Sorry, I was just messing around with the audio, trying to put your screen on. But anyway, I'm good. I've been busy with, like I said, the real world job here, and
It's me. I can't hear you.
oop, yeah, there we go. All right. Sorry, I was just checking the stream.
No worries. No worries.
I've been good. As I say, Mrs. Striking had a last minute thing in the real world job come through that she had to put together at the last minute. And part of my real world job is actually working for Mrs. Striking, and so I had to help her all week, and so I was a phone maniac and LinkedIn maniac and email maniac all week trying to get help her with this project. And actually, I don't know what I'm doing here. I might as well just pitch it. But anyway, the foreign minister of Canada, the Honorable Melanie Joly, is going to be speaking at the Economic Club in Toronto about diplomacy, economics, and defense. Let me try and find it. Here we go. Comments. Not that one. Not that one. Not that one. Not that one. There we go. See if this actually comes up. Oh, no, no. There it is. I don't know why it's not coming up. Anyway, in conversation with the Honorable Melanie Joly, Canadian diplomacy amid geopolitical uncertainty, and talking about the economics behind defense and the diplomacy and economics of using your military to further your diplomacy around the world. I don't have that exactly right. It might be the reversed that, but the point is that Canada doesn't do that anymore. They don't spend their 2% of GDP in defense budget as required by their NATO treaty. They really don't do anything anymore at all. Their navy consists of one ship that is out at sea. It's hanging out near Australia somewhere. Their Air Force is some old A-model F-18s, which were built probably in the late 70s or early 80s. And they are participating in the new F-35 program, which nobody could believe they actually agreed to that. But it's, they say they're participating, but it's, forever delayed. So I don't think they're spending any money on it. They've been dumping money in social programs, this government. And so there's been a lot of heat on the government lately. And so they're coming out to talk about foreign policy, defense, and the economics of the whole thing in Toronto at the King Eddie Hotel on the 11th of October. And Mrs. Striking is running that for the Economic Club of Canada. And I suggest that all of you watching get on an airplane and go to Toronto, buy a ticket, and go see it. Well, at least maybe the YouTube algorithm will pick those words up and help the Google search for that. Anyway, I digress completely into, I should say, what do we have going on in the markets? Senor Pedro?
Well, the markets are actually moving up, which is really a kind of good thing. And in relationship to what's actually going on with Ripple, some of the stuff that's actually going on in Washington, these are actually real fundamental changes that, like I agree with technical analysis, obviously, right? Like that's
right.
how I make my money. But like there are certain times when
I can't see your screen.
Oh, I don't know. You should be. Let me try this again. Here we go.
Coming back.
Oh, there we are. All right, can you see it now?
Yeah.
All right. So because there's a legit fundamental change in the intrinsic value based off of like support within crypto, we're seeing some really interesting stuff happening within crypto. I honestly thought that there would be much more negativity coming because I personally think that Gensler and all of those guys are trying to push the market down, like ultimately trying to push it down. But the fact is that we did close above the previous day's high, or excuse me, previous week's high, and we closed pretty decently, are now fighting support on the previous day. So here is, so we're looking at a weekly. So this was the month. This was the end of September. Okay,
yeah.
So we started here, we closed above. We hit some higher time from SMAs, right? The 200 and the 20 and a few other ones. We did not close above it. But over that week, we did put in a swing high potential. But I expected us to see a much further fall from here, but it's not. So I'm a little hesitant to say,
morning,
you know what? I'm a little hesitant to say that. I mean, we might come up a little higher to this now 31,000 area here to maybe retest this
All right.
into this area, but potentially, um, when I'm looking at this overall, this is now the next area. We should hit that 29, 30,000 area. This is the area that it has to get through this. After this, on a weekly level, if we get through this, close above this, the next spot, realistically, the next spot is 40,000. We get above that 40,000 mark with volume and with the Senate as well as the House sitting there saying, okay, let's see. Because the thing is, like you said, he's not necessarily pro crypto, but he's pro innovation. He's pro progress, right? And he does see the blockchain and crypto as a way to be able to move progress forward to help out, to get America back on track instead of special interest corporations that hold a monopoly on an
Right.
industry. So that's really where he sits. So if we start to see that type of push where it's like, okay, let's see a real movement. We could see now real money coming in. Then banks aren't afraid to invest. We don't have to worry about legislation issues with the politicians. Then it changes everything, right? And all of a sudden, now we're coming to the the halving in an environment that potentially could be very well just be a great environment. It'll be a friendly environment for us to really start to develop and push. I mean, like I said, I'm looking to be moving to Dubai primarily because we can't get funding for certain projects, right? So like if this changes, it's going to change everything. It will bring money back into the government, or it will bring money back into America crypto.
America.
And I mean, as
World police.
to say, yeah, it is. We are. Listen, I was talking to somebody the other day, and I said, you know what? Would I'd rather be in, like, we are a smart bully around the world, and anybody who steps out of line, we put in check, right? But we do have free reign wherever we want. And somebody was like, would you rather have that, or would you rather be one of the other countries? And that was a really hard question. I was like, ooh. Because you have to sit there and go, we do, we are a bit of a bully around the world. So, like.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah.
Ooh, getting hot here.
A little too hot there. But I do say that this could change things on a fundamental level. And so it's going to be really interesting. The fact is that we did close above the previous week's high right here, and right here is something that is I was not expecting this because we had all of these moving averages sitting
right
here. And I said that's going to push down and put more of a selling pressure. But we get above those areas, that changes everything. That completely changes everything. And I have to, I'm a chartist. The charts tell me what to do, right? And so I also look at things from that other aspect. So if we do see this thing start to move up, next thing we need to do is we need to see us get above that 31,000 with real volume. Not something like this that we're seeing, right? Like I keep talking. I'm talking, let's see some real volume come in, right? Let's see, here we are, boom. Let's see volume base like 100,000, 200,000, in minutes, right? Where all of a sudden now we're seeing, not minutes, and 200,000 within like, I don't say 200,000, I mean like 200 mil, 300 millions within millions, right? All of a sudden we're back to where we were pushing the markets at levels where it was just crazy, right? Like, anyways, all that I say is, it changes. So I'm a little bit hesitant because we are moving things a little bit different now. I was not expecting this, so we'll see what happens. The next couple of weeks, if we do see good news and real progress move within crypto, we potentially on a fundamental level can see this really push the market higher. But if we do and we get above this, the next spot after that 31,000 increase, we're seeing this thing get to 40,000, like 37, 40,000 is that
Pedro,
next.
last week you're telling me it's going to 15, 10,000.
I
What
was.
changed?
Well, this week,
Right.
like from a fundamental level, it changes. And listen, I'm the first one to say, I have no ego. The market always wins, right? Like the market always wins. When I want to hold on to my bias, when there is no real news, no real situations coming, I'm gonna sit there and go, okay. But it's kind of hard to, if the narrative of the major market is changing, not like little small bits of news. I'm talking like Congress is changing, right? Gensler's, he's getting punked and told to sit down and be quiet. That
He's
changes
definitely getting punked.
yeah, like it just changes the narrative. And so for me to sit there and ignore that, now I'm like, I'm the guy with the ego saying, no, it's going to go down. Well, no, it might not. Like, this is the market. The market's always right.
Right.
And so if banks come in, and who controls the market?
The big
Banks.
money. All right.
Big money.
So one guy says, stay calm when you see the big price movements and stick to the big picture. Today's fake pump is the best example for sticking to a plan instead of rushing into trades at resistance. Open interest is extremely high these days while spot buyers are low. Don't overvalue the market.
I would agree
makes
with
sense?
that. That's a good. Absolutely. Basically, what he means, like spot market, the actual Bitcoin itself, right? People buying real coins, small. There's not a lot of people buying Bitcoin, but yet the derivatives of it, there's a lot of buyers and sellers that it can change the market. When you actually buy real stock versus, let's say, the S&P 500 futures, right? You can get in and out of a trade real quick, right? For next to nothing. But if you're laying down real money for a stock trade, that's more for long term. And so that is a good point to put out. There is definitely more buyers coming in within more of the derivative side of the markets. So I would agree with that. But in the same essence, though, us from last week closing above, okay, again, not a lot of volume. Again, I never bring this up, but we did close above previous weeks, which is a strong indication of bullishness, right? We are hitting some areas. I expected us to see a sell-off here. I still do, but again, when I see the policymakers change, and now we're, obviously things could change, this next week coming up, that pro crypto could change, and they could be like, forget crypto because either I don't know, maybe somebody talks to him, brings him to the back room and say, hey, look, I know this is your policy on this, but it has to change because of XYZ. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Right? All of a sudden it goes, okay, got it. I got family, I got children to feed, but I don't think that's going to happen. Maybe they did fill up, and maybe they're looking to, maybe we'll see a crash real quick, boom, 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 within for a week or two, come down, and then see it rally. I don't know. It's going to be really interesting to sit there and see. My biggest thing is this. I want to see if we see real bullishness with a lot of volume get above this 31,000. We see it come up and come back and find support on this level right here. It changes my perspective. I'm still bearish, but I can't ignore what's going on in Congress. Just, you can't.
That's true. The fundamentals, that's what moves the charts out of their patterns. You look at those things, you got everything figured out. You're like, this is what's happening. You're right day after day. And then all of a sudden, some lunatic in Congress makes a decision. And boom, things change. But that's why the markets are not predictable every day. Some days they are, but it's like Vegas.
I think I've done a pretty good job on calling what we're seeing. I still think it's really interesting that we do not have a wick for the year. I can't ignore that. Like, we don't have a wick, right? And
Interesting.
that's not normal. I brought this up. Even a small, all the other times we've even had small wicks. We don't have a wick, and so since we don't have a buyer wick there, I just sit there and go, that's not normal. There has to, I mean, I think it's like a 50. I think there's a 50-point wick here, and for Bitcoin, that's like a hiccup. It's like a breath. It moves at 50-point moves, right? Like,
Right.
so that's where I'm sitting there going, that's just this right. That's why I said that I think I don't know, but I'm on the short term frame here. I'll put it like this: expect the market here. If we see a push here, see it to get to the next level, which is basically going to be, like I said, that 31,000 mark area right here. So if we get above this, we are starting to trend off of that 8-period moving average. And you can see here over the last few days, we've been playing off of this 8, okay, which has basically been moving up here. We blew through the supply zone here, and now we're moving up. So the next spot here is, obviously we have these higher time frame SMAs here, but they're not trending anymore because we moved up. These have flattened out. You see how they're more flat than actually trending, where this right here is trending up. This is more trending over. This right here, these are simpler, are easier to get through. The same ideas, the same idea here for these higher time frames here as well. Last week, before I came on, this 20-period moving average was coming down, right? So I said expect this to come, but you see how it's now changes trajectory. It's now pointing up. Same thing with the 200. The next part, like I said, is that 3,000. We do have that 20-period, or excuse me, but we have the 100-period moving average sitting right above us. Okay, so that is a big major indicator of what potentially could be affecting us getting above to that 31,000. But again, it could change in an instant if all of a sudden the Speaker of the House says, let's hear some real stuff going on with crypto. Please come up. How can we pass some laws to actually bring some innovation within the banking system?
People will go absolutely bonkers.
Bonkers. Dude, that's when all of a sudden my bag goes from like negative 80% to like now even for the year. And I'm like, yes. Like, listen, I'm in this with all y'all. Like, I'm I'm all negative. I had somebody said, it was funny. I had a friend of mine, because he's, creating algorithms and stuff like that for the market, and he trades Arbitrum, which is dope, through an algorithm. And so he asked me, dude, how you doing? And I go, like, realistically, what do you mean? How you doing? He goes, how you doing for the year for your actual full bag? Not what you trade. And I go, oh, dude, I'm negative. I'm like 80%, 90%. I mean, I'm in the same boat with everybody else. Okay. Like, the majority of my money has been spent up top. Right. And, cause I got into the market, I was, recently, this last bull run is when I got into it. And I had somebody tell me who was in banking, hey, look, man, you're not going to see those crypto bull markets anymore. That's a done deal. No more. And I said, really? But it's starting to put in like lower highs and lower lows. Do you see that? I mean, I don't, like, that's the market telling us it wants to go down. Like, look, like this is there is no hold. We didn't push higher above here, then come back down and find support. We should have hit 100,000 and then came down. But look, we're blowing through support. This is important, especially when we hit this big day right here. I remember this. I remember because somebody's like, oh, it's the end of the world. And I said, well, it's clearing things out. But yeah, I think we are going to keep going down here. This was in December of 2021. And so, anyways, long story short, this is a good thing. I don't think it's a bad thing. And if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. And like I said, I've said in this over and over and over, I hope I'm wrong. Like, because like I still have the levels here. I have 10,000 area, right? I have a 10,000 area, which is right here, but I actually took out that 10,000 area because that area's been traded already through. So I honestly dropped it down to 6,000 to 3,000. And I hope I'm, I hope I'm wrong. I do, but it could change instantly. and I could be wrong. And all of a sudden, we see this market then really start to rally again, and get to that 100, 200,000 Bitcoin, you know, or potentially even 300,000, right? So I don't know if it'd get that high this time around, but that'd be almost epic.
That would fix the bags, as they say.
Yeah, I don't mind that. Make me wrong, sir. Make me wrong. But we'll find out though. But like you said, the part that does kind of make me hesitant to say that it's going to continue higher is really because, again, no volume. We don't have volume. And with the potential changes in the market, there's this saying, buy the rumor, sell the news. So there's not even any rumor buying. So either way, we'll see what's up.
Well, maybe we should create some rumors. You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. The Congress just passed a bill saying we're switching from the fractional banking system. We're switching over not to the gold standard, but to the Bitcoin standard.
Standard.
We estimate the price of Bitcoin going to $1 billion by the end of the week.
$1 billion. $1 million.
You heard it here first. Nothing I just said is true.
This is all educational, right. Social entertainment purposes only. Do not constitute this as. By the way, did you put up that?
Yeah, it's running up there.
Good. Yes, yeah. So it's real interesting. It's been really just. I've sat there, but I was so shocked to see this figure of the house kicked out. I was like, wow, they did that. That really happened. That's impressive.
It's so amazing. To think about it, not even a president has been kicked out. They've tried to kick out a president, but it hasn't worked. And I realize Kevin McCarthy is still in office as a congressman, as a representative, but he's not in a position of any sort of power. And unless the new chairman installs him as a head of a committee or something like that, he's just going to be a backbencher like everyone else. Federal officials, whether elected or not, are very rarely removed from office.
Yeah, it's the people.
I know it's there's, and especially ones that, there's the civil servants. They get removed from office all the time, or their jobs, because there's 30, I don't know how many million people that work for the U.S. government, 30 million or something like that. They have the same crime demographic that the rest of the world has, or the rest of the United States has. So they get removed from office all the time. But people that are confirmed by Congress, elected or confirmed by Congress, like judges, the cabinet members, their assistants, deputies, all this type of stuff, very rare. U.S. attorneys, very rare for someone to get removed. But to have someone that's the third in line of succession for the presidency, get removed from that power. It's like kicking the little King or Prince George, out of the family, saying, "Sorry, you're third in line to be the King of England right now, but you're out. Yeah, sorry, you can still be like the kid that runs around and is a rich little prince kid, but you're out. Like Harry, out."
Yeah, I was going to say Harry.
Yeah,
but he walked away. He just said, "My wife, I'm so impressed, dude. As
I am unimpressed."
He walked away from being a prince, bro. Basically, making money for the rest of his life, no matter what.
There's no more famous family from a Western perspective in the world than the monarchy of England. There's no more, right? Oh, shit, hold on. I pulled my headphones out. Arrgh.
No, I think.
Noise was. Hold on.
You there?
Sorry. You are the man. You're basically there's a small group of people that are what's called the protected class, that everywhere they go in the world they're protected, both physically, financially, and everything, because nobody in the world wants anything bad happen to them. And you're the man. You're the man, and you can choose to be the man but stay in the background, not be the man, Or you can be the man and say, I'm going to be king one day and knife your brother and take over the kingship and all this type of stuff. You know, you can create a little intrigue like used to happen. Or you can say, fuck it. My wife's crazy and she wants to go live in the U.S. and I'm going to go do that and then complain about my family. What's the first rule of having a family, Pedro?
You don't talk about family.
Right.
Actually, and listen, I'll put it like this. I'm a foster kid. I went from home to home to home. I've literally had to take care of myself, okay?
Right.
And I know you don't talk about family. First
you don't
room.
talk bad
First
about
room.
them either.
Yeah,
I mean,
publicly. Yeah.
Right. You might be in the back room, you mother, giving them the business. But out in public, you're like, this is my brother, you know? And he just threw his whole family under the bus. Regardless of, you know, who cares if they're old thinking ways and all this type of stuff. I mean, compared to these woke idiots now in the school systems, I'm an old thinking guy. Like, oh, he doesn't wear women's underwear, so he must be the old boomer guy. You know, he's crazy. He needs to be canceled because he doesn't wear women's clothes. So the monarchy's old, and then Harry leaves. He leaves and doesn't now he has to work for his money. Obviously, he gets lots of money. His speaking fees are over $1 million per speech and that kind of stuff. So you can make money pretty. Yeah. He's in the speakers bureaus, and that's, you know, all that is pretty good. You know, that's a good thing to have. And he's got plenty of money. His wife makes plenty of money too, but they spend money. I mean, they don't have that. You know, before when they wanted to go from point A to point B, the British taxpayer paid for that. And now they go A to B, and they have a entourage, they have security, they have people, they have employees, all this type of stuff. You know, Harry's no longer just sitting back chilling. You know, he's got to work his British keister off, and there's all these people in England going, well, good, he shouldn't have it, right? And I have to toil every day back in the local councils and blah 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 blah. But that's your style of government. You know, you chose, or whether you didn't choose, you chose not to change it. That's your style of government. You chose to have a rich family run everything, and they own everything too. I mean, even in Canada here, I used to build armored vehicles for the government here, and they would send brand new vehicles, Suburbans and Land Cruisers, over to the factory to get armored, and they would already be registered to the government, and it literally says on everyone's titles here on their cars and their registration who the owner of the car is. Does it say that you are, Pedro, the owner of the car, or me, Tom? No. Who does it say?
Nope.
It says that now it says the king, by right, the King of England, or the King of Canada. I'm sorry, he's the King of Canada here. And on your property deeds, who owns that shit? Yeah, the king. They have all these freehold laws and, you know, this kind of stuff, and technically you're the owner and all that. No,
but it's not yours.
It's not yours. You have a monarchy. They owned everything. They still own everything. They just kind of nicely let everyone use it. Obviously, there would be a revolt, and they'd all end up on the guillotine if they tried to take their land back. But
they get residuals. They get residuals.
They get residuals. They got a lot. They lease a lot of land to the Canadian government, to the British government. They have all sorts of holdings, and it's all 100% legal and backed by their constitution. Gotta love it. And Harry leaves. Boy, did we get on a tangent there, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. Let's jump back. So what's going on with SBF? Let's talk about SBF and what's the whole entire circumstance, right?
SBF. I'm going to bring up the article I had here queued up and ready to go. I believe. Let's see this
Mr.
one.
Sam Freed Bankman. Is that his name? Sam Bankman
Here, this
Freed.
guy behind me. Here's an old picture of him shaking hands with CZ. CZ is apparently a larger person than I thought, and Sam is a much smaller person than I thought.
Oh yeah, I see it.
Where is the? I had a different article. This article I had queued up here. The UK will not be copying the EU's MiCA laws for crypto. They wisely held off until the Europe passed all their laws, and what the UK is going to do is pass laws just a little easier and less regulated. So then all the business goes over to the UK from Europe. It's genius. It's like, gotcha, mother thinkers. Let's see. I love it. I can't find that article I had up. It must have been this one that I moved.
I mean, that actually could have been everything. That actually what could be or what could have been happening within the U.S. Congress, right? Just waiting for everybody's to make laws, and then all of a sudden we just come with like better laws. I mean, potential.
Yeah, exactly. It's entirely possible. I got to tell you though, I've had this discussion with my friends from my sponsor, Auditchain. I'll just say that about. If the U.S. does get their shit together and put decent laws in place, how fast the business will move back to the U.S. and how fast it'll blow up here because the U.S. is just simply has the money. I don't mean from the government point of view, from the economy, banking, the venture VCs, all that type of stuff, and we have the speed of innovation. That's just the mindset here. You know, people don't work like here in Canada. There's nobody works. They have like we have 2 official 3-day weekends in a row here, and
what?
Yeah, in October we have the Reconciliation Day for giving all the natives smallpox, and then you have Canadian Thanksgiving is the 12th of October.
Oh yes,
and they're
yes,
matches the British one, and they celebrate it on Monday. So they have 2 3-day weekends in a row. Nobody does anything. They take the Fridays off, so they have 4-day weekends, and everyone's got everything comes to a friggin' grinding halt, and it's very much like that in Europe as well.
All over Europe.
Yeah, and in the U.S. we don't really have that problem.
No, we do not. Actually, you bring something up that's very interesting. I was talking about this. I said Americans, because we do have, what we fight for or what we kill, we eat. I mean, it's literally the mindset of Americans. I mean, I don't know about this younger generation, but I still feel like, they're very much like they want to be rich. Like they want to be, as much of the communist ideology that's being preached in the schooling, right, and socialism. These young kids, man, I sit there, man. I mean, yes, they're playing games, but when I hear them say, they're like, I want to become a millionaire playing games. I want to, it's like, oh, why do you want to be a YouTube star? Because I want to become a millionaire.
Right.
Why wouldn't it? It's not like I'm not sitting here and doing no, I see opportunity to make money and I want to do that. I mean, am I wrong or have you,
Nope,
Americans, these kids
wrong.
They're still grinders. I mean, they might want to give more money away to the government, which I don't understand, but it's still it's funny as they get older, right? And then they really have to start paying taxes and everything. I wonder if they're going to stay the same way, are they going to Mr. Klaus, where you'll own nothing and be happy about it? I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
Oh yeah, that whole Klaus thing. That whole World Economic Forum thing throws me for a loop because there's 2 sides to it. One, the policies that they eschew for this DEI and ESG stuff is just it's such a waste of time. And 2, the other thing is that it's literally one of the best networking and trade show events that has ever existed. And so once again, my sponsor Auditchain, they presented at the World Economic Forum, not at the official rich guy event that has all the muckety mucks in it, but around the WEF in Davos. There's every other place that you can rent out has a conference of some sort, and so people people hate the WEF and Klaus, but then they love it because all the other conferences go and you get to meet all the people that are decision makers in almost every related industry. And so totally torn by this thing. But when you hear the crap that is put out by them, I was reading an article the other day about the return on investment for companies that fallen under the ESG wokeism business and follow the WEF's policies, which is pretty much what the government of Canada is doing. And they have a much lower rate of return on investment.
Isn't Trudeau? What's his name? Trudeau?
His name is Moron, but it's Trudeau.
Trudeau. That's what we got. I want to call him. I'll call him Falso, but
Falso.
Whatever. Maybe I'm wrong. I might be wrong there. But I mean, isn't him and like Mr. Bond villain? Are they like best friends, or don't they like hang out together during?
Yeah,
like...
it stems from his dad, Pierre Trudeau, a long time ago. He was friends with the European muckety muck class, but also his the assistant, the Minister of Finance here, and Deputy Prime Minister is Christia McFreeland, Christina McFreeland, and she is a journalist, was a journalist at one point, and I might add has never been a finance wizard, and now is in charge of the finances of Canada. And she has been wokeized by the WF a long time ago, and is always a guest of honor and speaker there. And that all bleeds off into his government here, and it's. I mean, you literally can't do anything without wearing the other gender's clothes here, unless you go out in the street and wear the other gender's clothes. They're like, you're weird, you're hatist, racist. The Prime Minister of Canada the other day called everyone, all the parents that were saying, you can't change my kid's name and pronouns and all this stuff in schools without alerting the parents. And he called them all racist and bigots. He said there's no room, he tweeted it out, there's no room for, because the parents were protesting. They're in the province of Manitoba. Or Saskatchewan. That's one of those two. There's only 6 people out there anyway. They recalled their legislature that had risen for the year, and said, you got to come back and deal with this. This is a disaster. We need to fix this. And so there were protests. The woke people were like, no, kids should be able to do what they want, and girls should be able to chop their boobs off, and men should be able to snip their thing off without their parents notifying them, all this kind of stuff. And so the parents had a protest and said, this isn't right.
Rightly so.
Parents' rights, this type of stuff. You would not believe the crazy people that came out of the woodwork and basically assaulted some of them and said that they were racists and haters and misogynistic and anti this and anti that. And they're like, no, we're parents of kids going to a school who are being taught things that should not be taught at this age. And, nobody in 4th grade needs to be taught this stuff. And by the time they get to 8th grade, when maybe they should be taught about it, they already know about it. And so the Prime Minister tweeted that basically all the parents were racists and haters and hateful people and bringing hate to the whole country. And all these parents of 4-year-olds and 6-year-olds in school are like, our Prime Minister just called us racist and haters and discriminatory. And then today, Trudeau is on the news going, I never said that. They're like, oh, here's your tweet, sir. Well, that was taken out of context. Well, here it actually says there's no room for hate. Right here. Print your picture. Well, I could go on about it, but it grinds me to no end. The waste, the monetary waste, the waste of education, the waste of kids' minds, and the waste of effort these companies spend doing it when people could be getting better returns on their investment. And people say, well, they're big companies, they have a responsibility. Big companies have a responsibility not to pollute and do bad things. They don't have a responsibility to do above and beyond unless their board votes on it and says the responsibility of this company is not to make money for its shareholders. It's to make men wear women's clothes. Then that's right. But other than that, it's not the company's jobs. And as a result, they actually do make less money now. They do, and there's a number of studies, and I just read one that's like, yep, on average, companies that spend all this money on ESG, they have less efficient supply chains, They have a much higher administrative overhead. They have poor performing employees because they're not promoting people based on merit. They're promoting based on check boxes. And so they don't do as well. That's the way it is, people. You heard it from Tom.
Listen, I'm striking. Sorry. And you get a free. No. You know what's funny, man? I look at that stuff. Here's the thing, and I always think to myself, like, you get to the point where, like, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. Well, I'm then going to protect my own.
Yep.
And there are too many, and people don't realize, like, I live in an area that is been for years blue state, okay? And it is very much now a purple state and leaning towards red. And I know some of the people here, and it's kind of freaking people out because the people who have want to keep, and the people who don't have want to at least survive. And with all this environmental and woke stuff, like, they can only handle so much until you start to mess with their children and the fact that they can't put food on the table. And all of a sudden, you're going to bring out in America that sleeping giant called the conservative. And they are going to come out and they're going to start kicking balls, and forgive me, Facebook, but they're going to go through and do real damage to this. Because the thing is the majority of these people are working.
Yeah.
The majority of them are out there grinding.
Working hard and a lot.
Yeah.
Getting taxed.
Yeah.
And inflation and devalued.
Yes. And sooner or later, you just get to the point where they're just like, okay, no, we're done. Like, you're coming after you can come after my money, but now you're coming after my kids and I can't feed them. Yeah, no. And so it's going to be really interesting to see. I mean, you guys had the whole entire trucker thing, or you guys, but the trucker situation that happened in Canada.
Yeah, it was awful. It's right here. It was outside my window here. Like, right there. Or I should point over here on that street right there. It was there, and they're effing honking their horns for 2 weeks in a row at night, all night. Non-stop.
And that's one. Like, you don't understand and here's the thing. The only reason why that really didn't take off is because all of their friends have to work.
Right, exactly.
Right? But if they said, no, we're going to support, you know what? Forget it. You know what the real thing is? We can just go in, and if everybody likes each other, and here's the thing: there's more purple than there, and I know so the red state. When I say red, it's more of the conservative ideology. When I say blue, it's more of the liberal, like, wokeism ideology. And here's the thing: that's not always how it's been. A lot of times, it's not how it's been in America. America has been very much a purple nation, where you have a swing of red and a swing of blue every now and then. But we're coming back to, like, the majority of, and I'm shocked to hear, like, how much. The only reason why this area isn't a red area is literally because of certain aspects of politicians. They can kind of mess with Democrats, or they can mess with the demographics of a poll, like
gerrymander the districts.
Yes, there you go.
Yep.
And so it's really interesting to sit there, and I mean, what's blowing me away is to see blacks for Trumps, Hispanic for Trumps, Asians for Trumps. Like, I'm like, what? Like, what? Wait, what? Like, I saw this thing on X, formerly known as Twitter. Rest in peace, poor the 40. If I was watching some stuff on it, and I was like, nah, that's just clickbait. So I jumped online to see, and I couldn't believe there are full-on websites and organizations that are literally being ran by minorities, like grassroots minorities that are screaming Trump, Trump, Trump. And I'm just sitting there going, like, oh, this is gonna be really interesting. I mean, here's one for you. Just side note. What were your thoughts literally about Congress asking Trump to be Speaker of the House? What, not Congress, but a few people
Yeah, no,
mentioning this.
I nearly put the contents of my stomach out the mouth and out the bottom at the same time. I mean, it's true. Anyone could be elected to be speaker. They don't have to be a sitting congressman. You literally can elect me to do it.
Me and you. I think we'd be great speakers, bro.
Right. It'll be FU, and FU. One for you, one for you, and one for you.
You're crypto, right? Yeah, come on, let's go. Come on, get up here. Come on. Let's go.
I mean, it's just crazy to think that to have that man in any office. He's the worst. He's the worst person that you could possibly imagine to be in any office for any reason. I mean, he's gonna end up going to jail. All of his, I can't even talk about it. It's so bad, and yet people are like, "Oh yeah, well everyone's out to get him." I'm like, "Yeah, everyone's out to get him because he does everything wrong," and he blames other people, and all those people that are weak of heart that say, "Oh, it's not my fault that my truck's all rusted and I've got no teeth, and everyone ran away from me, including the dog. That's not my fault. That's the Democrats' fault. And that's the other Republicans' fault. It's everyone's fault except for Trump's. And he's going to say, I'm going to fix it for you. And did he fix it for everyone last time? No, he didn't fix it for anyone last time. All he did was give the rich guys a huge tax cut.
Yeah.
I mean, massive tax cut that did not, he said, well, we're going to cut these taxes.
Except for traders. Actually, for traders, he actually hurt us. People don't realize, like, he changed the futures tax bracket. And
oh, right. Yep.
Yeah, he's kind of messed things up there. But he also gave some pretty good discounts to the real estate moguls, right? Basically, what he made his money, and he did really good job when it came to that. So when he left, he could capitalize on that. Here's my question for that. Okay, now I am not pro or against Trump. I am pro-America. I want to see America come back on top and see us progress. I don't want to see the decline of America into a one-world government. I like how we have a hegemon around the world, and we're the top guy. I just do. We are the big
it's good
bully.
To be on top.
Yeah, we are good to be on top, and I want to see that. And so for me, I do see Trump. If Trump gets back in office, I can see that progressing. I do see China backing down. I mean, with what their politics are, and I could see some real. Yes, at home will be nuts, but around the world, it will put things kind of back in place. I think he could go over to Putin and really kind of slap Putin around and go, "What the are you doing, bro? Stop that BS."
Yeah, except he's not though, because Putin will be like, Trump will be like, "You shouldn't be doing that." And then Putin will say, "Hey, there's this great golf course down in the southern part of
Russia
that kind of has your name on it right now." And Trump will be like, "Oh, okay, thanks. Have a nice day."
I don't know. Do you think that? I mean, he was kind of slapping him around when he first. I mean, this is what I'm trying to say.
It was all BS and talk. And there's nothing worse. I mean, one of the reasons why Trump was impeached was because of potential corruption through then the previous administration of Ukraine, which was in essence an arm of Russia, and that's why they got rid. They made the guy leave the country in the middle of the night before they elected their current president. He's just he treats the presidency like it's a corporate office in which you make deals. And when you're the president, you don't make deals for money that benefit you. You make deals that benefit the country and the people.
So this is where I'm not disagreeing with that. But I also bring up just the personal idea that he does speak to people, and I don't believe that everybody, because I know some good people, great people with good morals that support Trump. They're not all degenerates to speak what Miss Clinton was talking about, right? So
deplorables.
I don't. the deploy, right? Like, it's not true. I mean, I see a lot of good people who do support him, who hold his values, and to sit there and negate what they're saying is dumb. Like, don't like. So it's like I don't agree with a lot of the tactics, but there are things that he did in relationship to more of a geopolitical standpoint that did put America in good standing, and did help out in a lot of areas that kept our inflation at a decent thing. Whereas, the current president, with the idea of wokeism and ESG and everything that's moving forward with that, is throwing things off a little. So it's like we need a balance. And I
Right.
mean, I'd rather see a swing here in the United States more towards that conservative thought, because I think we're jumping way too far. And you've said it all the whole entire show. I mean, about the wokeism is like, are you for real? Like leave my babies alone. Like, and you hear them like they straight say, we're not against you. We're against that you're going after our children. You want to bring drag queens into the kindergarten or into the schoolhouse and do dance shows, which has happened a lot.
They did
And
that
I
at my
don't
daughter's
understand,
school.
dude. Like, it doesn't make sense to me.
Nope.
So like, there's got to come a balance, and if we could swing back to the right, even center. I just want to go center. Let's get back to center. Like, how about we just get back to center and someone, I'm not against people who are gay. My brother was gay. He actually died of AIDS because the guy gave it to him. Which,
Right.
anyways, I'm sorry, and it's going. And my brother's transgender. He transgender, but he himself, she has said like I don't agree with women having like men who are transitioned into women into sports. I'm totally against that. There needs to be 4 categories. You cannot be a dude genetically, right, and have the bone structure. He goes, I transition. I use female hormones, but you know what? I still beat my wife's ass.
It's that's a whole nother topic that just drives me crazy.
Anyways.
There's a famous meme that's my favorite, and it's the guy that sets the new world record beats the old world record in the in some bicycle race by 100 times, and it's because he's a motorcyclist identifying as a bicyclist, and and so he's like, I'm winning, and he kicks all their ass and stuff. And ultimately, what unfortunately is going to happen for women is that all of this, and for people of however they view their own gender or whatever, is that most sports are going to transition away from having different men's and women's, and they're just going to have like weight classes and things like that, and or none. It's just everything's open. Like, like people think Major League Baseball and National Football League and Major League Soccer and the NBA are men's only sports. They're not. They're completely open. Anyone can play. You can play if you're a man, woman, or if you cut your dick off. It doesn't matter. And it's just the best win. And they've said, all right, but there's all these other people that want to play at a competitive level. And so we want to have other leagues. We'll have women's leagues so they can compete with each other and do that, because that's fun. People like to do that. And women's swimming, but women's swimming it only probably has another 3 or 4 years left, because once they start doing it in the Olympics, then they'll say the swimming groups will say, we're sorry, we're just going to go like wrestling and go to weight classes. And even at most weight classes, men are still stronger than women, unfortunately. And it's still, there's always the exception. Yeah, but that girl in Bulgaria, and some girl in Alabama always kicks the guy's ass. Right, that's going to happen. But still, what's going to happen is they're just digging themselves a hole, and it's going to end up with only the top men in sports, and everyone else is going to be like, screw it. I'm not even going to try. It's
going to be it's like women. I feel like women fought so hard to get how far they got, and I feel like it's unfair for them. I know that sounds, and I know I'm probably going to get hate for this and people saying stuff to me on my Facebook and all that other junk. I don't care. I think women they've tried so hard, and I feel like it's just been taken from them, and There's women in like Connecticut, man. Like it's a girl who literally worked her whole entire life, and this guy last minute comes in and becomes a woman, and literally takes her scholarship away. Right? Like there was like major. She literally was like, "What? Like how is this?" And I didn't understand it. I was like, "All right, they're okay. They're smart. They're not gonna be like that. There's no way." Sure enough, they honored it, and then she lost like literally everything she worked for, and I was so saddened by it. I was like,
Oh, that sucks. That sucks so
Bro.
badly. I'd be so
Dude.
pissed.
But dude, this is what I'm trying to say. Is like my dudes who are chicks, okay?
That's when you
Dude
go
chick-
and you go play in the junior league and you say, "Oh, sorry, I identify as a 12-year-old," and they're like, "But you're 6'9," and and they're like, "Well, sorry, I identify as a 12-year-old, so you gotta let me play." You little kids, bam, 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 bam.
Anyways, so people are gonna be like, "This is a crypto show, not a geopolitical."
I know, but we today was a light day on it. I even put that that Pedro and I were just gonna BS for this one, and it happened.
Okay, good. All I want is like, and my brother who is a transgender, I don't know what to call him. I'm sorry, Sarah. I don't know. And I even told him, I was like, I don't know what to call you. He's like Sarah or his name, and anyways,
Right.
but he's a full believer in like sports for transgenders. Like that's not, and he says it's not fair. It's absolutely not fair. He would not want his daughter to compete with somebody who is a transgender. He just doesn't, and he himself is transgender. Like nor would he want to see, like, if she was in boxing or something, right? Like to see some guy who's a martial artist go against somebody who is a martial artist I think it'd be all right. All right. I'm okay with a female who decides she wants to transgender or she wants to transition into a male who wants to do her own fighting in with men. That's on her own risk, right? But I'm not okay with a male who transitions into a woman who wants to fight in a woman's sport.
Imagine
Imagine
Mike Tyson saying, "I'm gonna go fight in women's. I got the voice for it, so I might as well go fight with them." There'd be 10 dead women out there with their faces punched in, dead,
bro, dead, like
and
dead. Like
people be like, "Well, he's got that right to fight, and he's a woman." And you're like,
"No, he's not.
He's
He
a
is
very
a
strong
male.
man.
He's a male who transitioned into a female." And I want to make sure we clarify that he's
different,
a man.
right?
There is a difference there because his bone structure is different. His bone structure is different. It's not the same. He's not. Like, and so I would be okay. Let's say if Holy Anderfer, what's his name? What am I forgetting?
Holyfield.
Holyfield, yeah. The one, if he's, and let's say Mike Tyson and him transitioned. All right, I'm cool with that. I'd love to see these guys, they're all right, cool, let's watch it, right? Or George Foreman and Mike Tyson decide to go boop, cut him, right? And all of a sudden you see him going at it. It's like, okay, that's cool. But I'm not okay if they're going to come in and go against. Now, I don't think that's going to happen because I personally think that the boxing federation, I don't know if that's even correct, but I think they're more conservative, right? So I don't think they would allow that just because from a genetic standpoint, it wouldn't be right. It wouldn't be right. It'd be completely wrong. Watch, but there probably is something I don't even realize it. Shoot, actually, now I think about it. Watch it actually be there.
Oh, good Lord. Pedro, we've been on long enough here. I got to get going.
Yeah. All right,
I'm not
my
used
friend.
to being on at 5:30, and you're in the. Mrs. Striking's gonna walk in the door here. The dog's gonna bark like crazy, and I've got errands I still need to do.
Yes. Oh, tell her, by the way, hi, and thanks for accepting my request. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, that LinkedIn grabs you, man. I've been on it too much lately, but I strangely enough, our show gets more views there. We're not on LinkedIn today because I knew we'd have an off-the-wall discussion. So I leave the more serious ones for it, but I get more, except for the outlier of YouTube and Caitlin, which we're now at 6,500 views.
Wow.
Which I suspect it's embedded in a popular webpage of some sort, but besides the point, the views count. We get more traction on LinkedIn.
You know what? I still am consistent getting follows on Twitter. Like,
keep it up.
Since
Still,
that's happened,
still good for us.
Yeah, it keeps going up. I'm like, all right, cool. I'm not gonna shy away from it. People listen to us and they're liking it, so I'm like, all right, great. Anyways, my friend, I know you got to get going.
All right, Pedro, I do have to get going. It's been a great day for BS, and we hit all the topics that we normally stay away from on this show. We hit everything from woke to politics to chump to
false dough.
Yeah, to people that are crazy, to prime ministers and presidents that are just not with it and have loose bolts in their head. We hit it all, and the YouTube algorithm is going to either boost our channel up into craziness with super popularity, or it's going to bury us in a shadow ban. You don't,
dude. They're going to shadow ban this, bro. This is going into the shadow ban world. There's no way that is going to be, but it was still fun.
Yep. All right, ladies and gentlemen, for Pedro Garcia and I, once again, my name is Tom, otherwise known as Striking here in the digital media world. It's another episode of DYOR Live. We'll see you tomorrow morning here on this Bat channel. So check it out.